Welcome back to Boys and Ghouls Film Review, folks. I'm your host, Sarah Stephenson. This is my co-host, Mike Stephenson.
Hi, guys.
So, what are we reviewing tonight, Mike?
Oh, a really good thing. But before I say anything, we have our computer back, so you should now notice a good changing quality of our broadcast.
Right.
Okay, tonight we are doing a very new, a reasonably new film, 2022. It's called The Fabelmans. Fabelmans.
Yeah.
It's a coming-of-age drama film directed by Steven Spielberg.
I know what you guys are thinking, but we've already done we did Ed Wood a while back, and this is no different than Ed Wood, obviously.
Well, this is a bit different because Steven Spielberg, I think his sister wrote the story, but then he took it and he made it, what it is, with a co-writer, Steven Spielberg and Tony Kushner. And Stephen directed it.
And wrote a little part of it.
And it was about loosely based on his family and when he was growing up getting into filmmaking. There you go. So that's why we thought it might be interesting for those of you who may not have seen it.
Yeah, aside from a few differences in the story.
They changed a few things.
Here and there.
It's not a true biodrama.
There is a few things that are really truthful if you actually go online and find out a little bit about Steven Spielberg along the way.
Yeah.
Like most filmmakers, you're going to get a mixture of family drama here and there.
And you change a few things to make it look good,
And he's dedicated this movie to both his mother and father, his late mother and father, I should say, because they passed away
Well, you like to think so. Stephen's not getting any younger either.
True. But I never imagined they would, I think it was either his father or mother living to 2020. I never imagined that, but there it is, folks.
Anyway, here we go. I've already said this, produced by Christy McCosco, Christy McCosco Krieger, Steven Spielberg, and Tony Kushner. Steven Spielberg wrote that and also directed that. But it's based on a story which I think his sister wrote.
Yes.
Okay. So, I think it was his sister. I can't remember which. He had a couple of sisters.
He had like 3 sisters, supposedly.
Now,
I don't know if that's true or not in this one.
No, I don't know. But it was loosely based on his family. He had a family network, so that's probably pretty close to what he had. Here we go. Right, we had Michelle Williams plays Mitzi Fabelman. That's his mummy. Paul Dano plays Bert Fabelman, which is Sammy's down-to-earth father and a computer engineer. Seth Rogen. Now, everyone says, that name Seth Rogen. He's been in a few movies. I just can't remember all of them. But I always remembered him in The Green Hornet. And I remember him as doing the voice of Bob the Blob. Ah, that guy. Yeah, Bob the Blob in Monsters vs. Aliens and stuff.
I was forced to watch that by my niece and nephew.
Gabrielle LaBelle plays Sammy, which is supposed to be based on Steven Spielberg.
Yeah.
And a couple of people there. I won't go down. There's quite a few people in here as well.
Mike, I have a big question to ask about this. If it's about Steven Spielberg, why didn't he use his real name too?
Because he didn't want to be a biodrama. It was loosely based on his life, so they can romanticise it and change it around to protect the innocent. How's that?
Got it.
And make a slightly better story out of it, change a few things, drop some things out, put some things in, just to make it a pretend type story, not a real story. How's that?
Yeah, that's right.
That's about it, probably. Yeah, because it's not a true biodrama. Like the Ed Wood one wasn't a true biodrama.
No, not even close.
No. So anyway, here we go. What else? Let's go down a few things here. Right. Budget was about 40 mil, and box office only about 45 mil. However, I would say it's probably picked something up on home media, so it probably wasn't a failure. But you can't always get a good box office on every movie.
True.
Even though it may be a good movie, it's just the luck of the draw at the time and what people are actually watching and what's on in competition. So, but we liked it. I like to learn about. I like to see movies about people like this. Ed Wood's, Alfred Hitchcock in the Hitchcock movie. People like that, because it shows a bit of an insight behind the scenes of where these guys grew up, or so they strutted their stuff in the business, and that sort of stuff. So it's really good. I can't think of anything else I want to say before Sarah starts talking about it. Mm-hmm. But it's a good watch. So Sarah, you don't dally too much on different scenes because it was a long movie.
Yes, I will try to keep it quick, guys. So in the first opening scene, we see Mrs. and Mr. Fabelman.
Yep,
taking their young son, Sammy, to a film called The Greatest Show on Earth, which, according to what I found out, it was probably one of Steven Spielberg also attended, and that inspired him years later to make Indiana Jones's, wardrobe and stuff. Yep. So, anyway, him and his family go. This is his first movie, this little kid, obviously. And when he first watched it, he watched a train scene where where it just crashes, and for when he sees this, he's mesmerized. That's probably the worst word I could think of. His parents misinterpreted it as traumatized.
They thought he was a bit traumatized, but no, he's mesmerized. He was taken because it looked so real. Yeah, it did.
Yeah, it did look so real with the combination of different shots, like in a studio, on a prop table, and just a matter of using a green screen or yellow screen to make the trains come at you.
Excuse me.
Of course, it's a good combination, and he's mesmerized by this. Anyway, his parents are Jewish, and they're celebrating Hanukkah, if that's a term. Mm-hmm. And he wants to have Christmas lights for his Christmas, obviously. I mean, Hanukkah. But the parents say, no, you cannot have the Christmas lights. We don't do that. But he comes up with the idea of getting a train for his birthday. For Hanukkah, and which he does. And it's one of those really awesome
when a slightly larger models, and the engine actually blows smoke. It looks really good. I wish I had one.
Me too. I mean, you don't see them anymore. You just see a lot of ordinary ones, obviously. Anyway, later one night, as his parents are fast asleep, he goes down to where his dad kept the train. Where I think his dad's working as a computer engineer. Where the first computers started.
He worked was IBM or somebody in different places.
Yeah, one of them.
Yeah. A couple of them. He changed around a bit.
Buzzmiz, I think it was. I'm not sure.
Bismax is one.
Bismax. Yeah. Anyway, so when his parents are asleep, he takes the train out, and a little car figure. With a figurine.
He's got a little car on the tracks, just like in the movie. He set it up so the train's going one way.
Yes.
And you got the car going the other way. He had a little thing like an arc or something rather than be the other train stopped on the track.
Yeah.
Big boat, yeah. And he filmed, he redid the crash scene.
Yeah. And his mother and father come down and noticed him wrecking his train. Well, he says he didn't mean to wreck it. It wasn't damaged or anything, but his father fixed it.
You should respect the old gear and blah, 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 blah. Yeah.
Of course, his mother decides to film it so her son can watch it over and over again.
Without actually damaging the trains.
Without damaging the trains. But, and here's the big but, he does the crash several times,
Different perspectives.
And
Clever kid.
And he couldn't. And he says that he did not damage the train. This sparks his interest in filmmaking.
Now he's using an 8mm film camera from the way back when, no sound, no nothing.
Yeah,
but,
this is way back. Yeah. Like all you have is just a lot of nothing.
Well, you had the. It's like watching a silent movie.
Yeah. You can probably play a bit of a music record if you want. Considering this is back in the 1950s, and records were the music of the ages back in those days. Anyway, so he does a few movies with his sisters, and it's really great how he does it, because there was one scene where he uses a string pulley where he gets a skeleton out of the closet and scared the living crap out of his little sisters.
And they scream, obviously.
They really scream. Like, he was using real emotions, like the way you would often try to make sure your actor doesn't fake it on screen.
Yeah, you did.
Anyway, later on, his dad announces that they're moving to Arizona. Isn't that right?
He moved a couple of times. Arizona, I think.
Yeah, the first move, and his mother doesn't like this idea. But then she gets distracted by a tornado, and she gets all the kids in the car, well, except for her youngest, who's a baby, and starts chasing this tornado, which is a bit odd because it's not like the 4th of July chasing fireworks. I don't know. Anyway, soon enough, electric cables start heating up on the road, and some trolleys roll past, and I think that she's starting to realize that this was probably not the best idea, and she tells the kids if something bad happens for a reason, there's
bad things happen for a reason.
If something bad happens for a reason, there's a good reason for it.
There's a good moral there. Yeah.
Anyway, so we watched them head to Arizona. Along with them, his father's friend Benny, who's Uncle Benny, isn't that right?
Uncle Benny, it's his dad's business partner.
Yeah. Best friend according to him.
His best friend and business partner. Yeah.
Yeah. So they head down there, and once they get to Arizona, a few years later, he is still making films, using his friends and mates and stuff, and he actually got, some more footage, and his friends and him shoot a Western.
That's when he was in the Scouts, wasn't it?
Yeah, when he was in the Scouts.
It's really funny because he's in the Scouts there in Arizona, dressed in the same sort of Scout uniforms that I was a kid who played Indiana Jones.
I don't remember. I think his
the guy who played young Indiana Jones.
I think his name was Phoenix Rivers.
Yeah, River Phoenix. Yeah.
I could be wrong.
And he was in that. Was it Crystal Skull one?
Yeah, that was the Last Crusade.
Last Crusade. That's right. Last Crusade, and he was dressed in the same sort of Scout uniform from that period. And I thought, aha.
Yeah. Anyway.
His own touch.
Yeah. So he and his friends and his sisters, they're back into the production. So assist his production, and I liked how he did this one because he used a real stagecoach from the Old West and some of the buildings inside. I guess maybe
it must have been the tour site. Yeah.
Allowing, and of course the guy who told him, "Do not dirty my carrot."
Yeah, they're putting dust all over. Putting dust through the window like it was going down the road and stuff and different things. And it was quite good actually for a good imagination for a kid. Hey.
Yeah. Anyway, eventually he previews this at school, and everyone thinks it was pretty good.
Yeah, had a studio out and everything else. Yeah. And back in those days, special effects were minimal. And they weren't using real guns. And he said, how did you actually get the guns look like they're going off? He said he put pinholes in the film to let the light shine through.
Yeah, see,
that would have been very hard to do.
Yeah, see, back in the day, guys, as you may well know, you could not put layering of film. This is back when the digital age of filmmaking, where you could not do.
And the kids wouldn't have had access to real guns and live rounds and everything. Yeah.
And so he had to use his own imagination of how to do this.
So pinpricks with the film.
Yes.
And wow, what a great, you see?
Yeah, it impressed his father so much.
You always don't need technology.
Of course, later on, his dad said that while this is a good hobby, he must think of the future.
Get a real job.
It's one of those things that you hear a lot from these movies where parents, they keep saying, you must think of your future. You must start planning ahead a solid career that will get you money and stuff like that. Of course, Sammy says this is his career. He wants to make pictures. Anyway, him and his family, they go camping, and he starts filming a lot of interesting stuff here and there. And it was a lot of fun, obviously. And there was even a scene where his mother, who was completely drunk, where she danced...
A little bit tiddly.
Tiddly, a little bit. And she starts dancing, beautifully.
But see, she's near the fire, but there was also Uncle Bernie put the car headlights on to highlight her.
Oh, yeah.
And she was wearing her slightly see-through lingerie.
No lingerie.
For its time, back then, it would have been a bit rude, but not today. Nowadays, you wouldn't care. But,
the mother and her daughters, on the other hand, one of the daughters was a bit prudish and said, "Mom, your dress is see-through. We could see your legs and your thighs and your bum and your bum." Well, not your bum so much.
She didn't say all those words, but she implied that Mum could see everything. Yeah.
But she didn't mind. Anyway, later on, her mother passed away. And, of course, the whole entire... Well, not the whole entire family. Just the kids and the father and her were there to bid their final farewell. A little sad because when you think about it, do you really want to bring your little kids to,
into
see
the room where the person's dying? No, I wouldn't.
No. It's sad when you think about it.
That's not. I don't think it's right. I mean, it's okay even to go to the funeral. When you don't go into a room when the person's actually dying.
Yeah.
Sitting down there and moan and groan. Death rattle. They've passed. The machine is now turned off. No. Not a good thing for anybody.
Yeah, true.
Adult or kid.
Yeah. So anyway, she gets all mopey-eyed and crying and sad, and of course, dear old his father gave him a special projector. I mean, not
an editing machine.
An editing machine that allows you to actually see the footage in a bit of bigger scale.
So when he was first doing it, he was using a magnifying glass to look the footage over and then cutting it. My dad bought a little hand round film projector so you can actually see the thing on a slightly larger screen for editing.
Yeah,
so
that way you can edit the bits you don't want and
you can see it better. When you're doing it. Yeah.
Of course, he says it would be nice to actually, edit the footage you did at the campsite just for your mum, and of course,
to
make her feel better. Of course, in this scene, he says, "I'm going to be doing my wharf picture tomorrow with my friends and stuff like that," and he says it wouldn't kill you to actually do this for your mother, who's feeling a little down. So, do this and all that stuff. Of course, we also meet his great uncle, I think
great uncle, who actually, believe it or not, was working in Hollywood at the time.
Yeah, he used to work as a circus hand, shoveling animal poo, and then he was told to take part in the act, obviously, and this encouraged him to get into filmmaking, if not a big scale of stuff, but just as a hand or something. Anyway, he tells Sammy about how that him and his mother have the same passion. His mother was also a pianist, I should mention.
Pianist, yeah.
Yes.
Could have been a concert pianist, I think.
Yeah. And he wants Sammy to realize that when he'll love filmmaking more than his family. So he conveys this fact really deeply. I think that this is a real conversation he had once upon a time. It seems like it in my mind.
Well, you need someone to get your juices flowing and get you going in the right direction.
Yeah. Anyway, he then leaves, and eventually Sam decides to cut the footage he did at the camp, removing bits of her supposedly with Benny, who look like they were having
a bit too close for friendly.
Too close to be
too
comfortable.
What I mean.
Anyway, so he edits these bits out, and once he previews it to his family, they love it. But unfortunately, he still feels like he's being
He kept all
down.
the Benny bits.
Yes.
Of his mum, yeah.
He becomes very distant from her.
Negative towards his mother.
And when he does his war picture, he eventually does it. It's pretty impressive how he does it in the behind the scenes. In this one, he uses a dolly, a pram for the dolly track thing.
And some couple pieces of lumber on the ground as tracks.
Clever.
And just lined up and just pushed along over the rocky ground that was reasonably smooth for its time.
Yeah.
Hey.
It was impressive.
I'd do it today.
And he had to explain to his actor friend about how seeing it's the war movie and it takes place during War II, and he has to look a bit sad because he led his men to their doom.
And he explained it to him the way a good director should. So these guys followed you. They're like family. They would have done anything you wanted to. You led him into a battle, and they all died. And you feel responsible for the deaths. And he was so emotional, he got wrapped up in the part and walked off. And when it cut, he just kept walking because he couldn't handle the emotional side of it, which is really good. You're bringing out the acting in an actor. Yeah.
Anyway, this camera he was using is like I don't know what camera it was with like a 30.
I'm not sure now.
It was a bigger advancer camera that will allow
a few more minutes. Next project, better camera, that sort of stuff,
Anyway, once he edits it, and he presents it in a special film festival at school, which he won first prize, obviously. And,
I believe so, yeah.
Everyone thought it was great, and of course when his mother comes to mother and Benny try to congratulate him, he coldly... Just walks past them and just listens to his father and his couple of students.
And then you see Benny and Mum getting in the car and driving off.
Yeah, they say they're going to drive in Benny's car while the kids and Sammy are going to be driving with their father.
Yeah, so...
later on, his mother does eventually confront her son about this whole thing, and he shows her the edited out bits he cut out.
That explains why he's upset with her.
He then tells her that he doesn't plan on telling his father. Obviously, this is between her and his father, and of course, he forgives her, and she comforts him and stuff like that. And eventually, things continue to get shaky because now that the family are going to move to California.
Yeah, Saratoga in California, I gather.
Yeah, North California. Anyway, so Sammy's thinking of getting rid of his camera, realizing this is not really good.
Yeah, but wait a minute. Benny's not going to go with him this time.
No, Benny's not coming with him.
He kept going with them, move, so he can have an affair. This time he's not moving.
Anyway, so Sammy decides before he moves that he wants to, get rid of his camera. I think he's starting to realize that this is not something he wants to do.
Well, he wanted to buy a new camera for young Sammy because I think he believed in his future.
Benny came across him at the same camera place and bought him a much more advanced one, which he used in that war movie he was working on. I think he was actually hiring the camera from when he was doing that project. So he was kind of helping him a big deal.
Yeah, and he bought him a brand new camera.
Of course.
And he didn't want to take it, did he?
Yeah.
Because
at first he says no and stuff, but he then gives in and says he'll hand him the money he got from his old camera to him, obviously. Of course, they go into a group hug. I mean, he gives him a hug. And as Benny's walking away, he actually slipped the money back into Sammy's pocket.
And he realised it after, and he waved to him, "See you later, bye."
Then later on, they're heading towards California, and his father let slip something that was inappropriate when I think about it, where he says that he had a dream that him and Benny got into a fight.
And he smacked him in the mouth or something or other,
yes.
Across the nose. And I think his wife realised that there must have been, he must have known something. Yeah.
She steps out of the car and wants a moment to herself, and Sammy approaches her, and she thinks that she feels bad about what she's done. She loves her husband, and she does not want to, cause friction between her and her hubby, obviously.
Exactly.
But anyway, they eventually arrive at California, where they have a temporary home they're staying in. But the other house is going to be built.
Was being built or something? Yeah.
Yes. Soon enough, Sammy is going to high school with his sisters and
being picked on because he's a Jew.
Yeah, he's being picked on by football player guys. You know what I mean? The American kind guys.
Yeah, the leather man.
The leather jacket guys or jocks.
Sport guys, the jocks with the letters on there.
Yeah.
I'm on the track team. I'm really good. I play football.
One of the boys, he practically rubs it in his face. The other one, who is much more popular and much more good looking, says it's best not to get on his bad side and it's best to stay out of his way. Yeah. I think this, even though he didn't do anything to help Sammy in any way. He
didn't actually go against him either.
Yeah, he didn't exactly step up and defend him during the teasing. Anyway, eventually he spots him making out with a redhead, and eventually he accidentally spills the beans to his girlfriend.
Yeah, when they're still there, and
of course, he gets beaten up, and his parents want to know what's going on. Of course, he says he does not want to get the school involved like they usually do in these movies.
Yeah, well, you don't do it all the time, no. You deal with it, yeah.
He then befriends and becomes a boyfriend towards
a girl called Monica, isn't it?
Monica, who is nice, but a little over the top for my liking.
But, super religious type. But her father owns a 60mm Arriflex camera. I don't know what that is, but little Sammy thought, hey, that's a good camera.
Yeah,
and
of course.
And she was going to borrow it to go to this summer vacation thing on the beach.
Sammy has not bothered to pick up his camera. He's actually sleeping with it for comfort. And
under his bed, wasn't it?
Under his bed or under his pillow.
See, Bernie gave it to him, so he wasn't very... Bernie. Yeah, Benny wasn't his favourite guy, so he just left under the bed. He wasn't using it for a while.
Yeah.
He had to go through a mind cleansing. How's that?
Yeah. Eventually, this leads to them to make a sort of school film about
Summer holiday
or summer break or whatever.
Yeah, whatever, yeah.
So he was coaxed in by his new girlfriend, and so he starts filming the activities at the beach. It was fun, really.
Actually, if he did something like that originally back in those days when he was a kid, from what I saw, that was pretty damn good.
I thought it was pretty
doing
cool.
it, yeah.
Anyway, there were some really good shots, and eventually he previewed it at the prom, and before that gets to that, his girlfriend, she decides to break up with him because he wants to move to Los Angeles to actually get work as a filmmaker and stuff, but she doesn't. She wants to go to college and stuff like that. And she said that eventually she was going to probably put an end to their relationship by graduation. It was just cutting to the quick, especially
just filling in for a bit,
especially when he brought up much later that his parents might be looking at getting a divorce.
And that's mental that you said, "Oh no, I can't be associated with somebody from a broken home." Didn't actually use those words, but yeah.
Anyway, so we get to the film that he worked on during the summer break one, and it looks really great. And of course, it makes the popular guy look really good and to the school. Of course, when Sammy goes off to grieve in the hallway, he approaches him saying, "How could you make me so great looking and stuff?" He was offended.
And be a hero and stuff, because he's not really like that on the inside. He's an insecure guy.
Yeah, I think
he can't live up to it.
Yeah. He feels like he's not perfect. He has imperfections.
Yeah.
And which we don't know much about him. Obviously, it's not important. Anyway, his friend who's made a mockery in the film, he starts approaching Sammy and demands that
because he made him look like a little twit in the movie.
Oh, yeah, he did.
He deserved it too.
Yeah. Eventually, this is where his old friend steps in, defends Sam, and hits his old friend, obviously.
I don't know if it's Chad's actually his friend. I think it's a case that they're on the same football team or track team or something.
Anyway,
they hang out together.
He tells him off, and he leaves. And of course, both Sammy and Chad, they sit on the floor together, and he smokes a cigarette. I think it was.
I'm not quite sure if it was a joint or a cigarette.
Yeah,
I couldn't tell. Yeah.
He goes on to explain how this stuff usually takes away all your pent up issues and stuff. So it might be a drug.
It could be a bit of cannabis. Yeah, not sure. Yeah. Well, it doesn't matter.
It makes me think back to when his granduncle says that his art is like an addictive drug.
Yeah, interesting, hey? A bit of analogy there, yeah.
It is a little bit of an analogy there, because I often think it's a very addictive thing, having that type of creativity in your mind.
Yeah.
Anyway, and you cannot get off it. It's a pretty much like a drug, as I said. So eventually they part ways, and he says that he doesn't plan to make this into a film one day, but he says it was only a joke.
He did, didn't he? Took about 7 years.
Anyway, they part ways, and he says to Chad, "At least you got the girl." And
he did.
I think
his girlfriend came out of it.
Yes.
Now, about a year later, can we just speed up a little bit?
Yeah. So, the mother and father divorced, and his mother's now married to Benny, I think he was.
I believe they got married, yeah.
Yeah, and both
Sammy is living in Hollywood with Dad.
Yeah, they're living in a small flat, I think, and he's trying his hardest to get work. Of course,
he said he wants to drop out of college, but's unable to find work in filmmaking.
Of course,
that's what
he got a few rejections. He also got a letter from his mum, from a barbecue with his sisters, obviously. We see photos, and there's one shot where we see the daughters in the shot, but we also see Benny and his mum, fooling around.
Yeah.
It's like the expression I've said in the past: if it's on frame, it doesn't exist.
Oh Lord, please get on with
I know.
Now anyway, but his dad grudgingly accepts the fact that his son. No, I fucked up.
Okay, go on.
His son wants to make film making his passion and his career path.
Yes.
Get over the Benny bit.
Sorry.
Okay?
But soon enough, he does come across a letter that's from the NBS, I think it was. Was that right?
Well, whatever. It's a film studio was, yeah.
Yeah, a TV studio, and he read it, and it says that they want to meet him.
Yeah, it had something to do with Hogan's Heroes, wasn't it?
Yeah, they said that they would not give him a paid job. It's more of an internship.
Yeah, to learn the ropes.
To learn the ropes.
Do some basic, be an assistant to an assistant. Something basic.
Of course, when he mentions the release letter, he says that he doesn't wish to be involved in TV. He wishes to be involved in movies.
Movie making, yeah.
Of course, he introduces him to John Ford, obviously.
Yeah, now everyone knows John Ford.
Yeah. So he takes him over to the office, and there he waits for 40 minutes or less, depending on who's talking.
Well, whatever.
And we meet him, and he's wearing the famous eye patch, which a lot of people may know about, obviously, about his eye surgery. And he walks past him, and he's got these kiss marks all over his face. Who knows what that happened. And eventually, he gets... Sammy goes inside his office and the guy, he tries to talk to him, but he's tongue-tied, if that's a term.
Well, it's sort of like a hero, you know. What am I going to say to him?
He then asks him, what do you know of art? And this stumps him. Sammy's probably never been asked about that.
And he said, go over the picture on the wall there.
And he says, okay, there's some cowboys and stuff.
And what do you see?
What do you see? And he says, where's the sun's
he said, where's the horizon?
Where's the horizon? He says...
down the bottom of it.
Yeah. And he
tells... this other picture. And what do you see there? Yeah.
He says, there's some people there, blah, blah, blah. Where's the horizon?
At the
that
top.
one.
He said, if the horizon's through the middle of the picture or the film, it's no good.
Yes.
Because you're not framing it properly.
Yeah, and he tells him to get out of his office, obviously. And, of course, Sammy says thank you, and I think he felt... he kind of felt, wow, this was an encounter. And even though the man was just telling him straight up, this is what you need to know about filmmaking.
Yeah, you're framing it. You're getting it right.
Then we watch him head down the way there throughout the studios.
Yeah, the studios. And you know what the funny part is?
What?
At the beginning, when he's walking down there, the horizon's in the middle of the screen. Then they change the camera angle.
Oh, yes.
And they put the horizon near the bottom of the frame.
Uh-huh.
That's where he's saying, oh, the message did get through.
Yes.
Change time, yeah.
So that was the end of the movie. And at the end of the credits, it said, for Leah and Arnold. Those are Steven Spielberg's mum and dad, who passed away years ago, obviously. It was mentioned that this film was dedicated to his family, including his sisters, which was listed in special thanks to, obviously. Of course, both his parents' names are mentioned in the end of the credits. You just have to sit through them. I always thought it was going to be at the opening of the credits. Usually, sometimes that would often occur.
Yeah. Now, actually, getting back to the Albert, his sister Anne Spielberg wrote it, and it was titled "I'll Be Home."
Oh.
And his biggest fear was that his mum and dad mightn't like to see their life in film. So he didn't do the movie straight away. That went on back in 1990s. Yeah.
They probably would question
Well, they wouldn't want necessarily have their the mum's affair and other things made public to the world when they were,
Yeah, well.
Still, maybe it was released, he'd wait till they died to do it. I don't know, but yeah. So anyway, I can't say too much about it. There's lots. I could waffle on casting and stuff, but then I'll be here all night. But it's a typical Spielberg thing. He knows how to make a damn fine film.
Oh yes, a man of many talents.
Yeah, no, and I think the cast worked really good. The young guy, what's his name? I've got all his memories. Gabriel LaBelle. He played a really good role playing an enthusiastic young filmmaker.
Yeah. It makes me wish and envy that I could have done filmmaking back when I was a little kid.
Me too. I'm 70 now. I'm just getting into it.
Yeah. I mean, I was born in the 90s, and no doubt we would often have cameras that have audio attached to the camera now.
Well, that's true.
And I don't know what stopped me. I mean, I guess it was probably the fear that the expense of a camera and the fact, aside from you be using just VHS tapes and stuff like that, it would still mean I have to cut it the way they would have done years ago.
You wouldn't have cut VHS tapes. You would have had wet film, which 8mm, 60mm, that sort of stuff, and then 50mm later on. Yeah, but then small cameras, I think 8 and 16s.
Yeah.
And and that you would have done it the hard way through a little thing like he had in the show. Yeah.
This is why I probably am happy that I'm not back in those days, because then that would mean I have to do it the old-fashioned way by using a scissors, gluing the pieces together, and seeing if it's any good. And if I'm dissatisfied, I could easily end up gluing it onto the table accidentally. That could happen. I'm pretty sure that would happen.
Did happen occasionally,
yeah. If you're not too careful about it when you think about it. I do think that's kind of. I also found when I was looking into research about Steven Spielberg's background that he actually did do he did do a train wreck. When he was a kid, and after he watched The Greatest Show on the Earth.
Yeah, it's a Charlton Heston movie.
Yeah, and then he did make a cowboy western movie, using his camera, obviously, and when he was in Arizona. And then when he got older, he got to do an army one, obviously, which was not too bad. I mean, I guess, seeing as it's comparing it, the footage, it does come off a little grungy, but that's what to expect from those types of cameras, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, well, the early cameras weren't all great quality sort of thing. I think they'll fix. They might not even have a zoom on them or anything. I can't remember. Yeah,
this sort of thing.
Basic,
yeah, those sort of things make me think of Chris and Eric, are two of our friends.
Chris Strombolus and Eric Zahler, is it?
Yeah.
They did an Indiana Jones tribute movie.
Yeah, so it's no different from what Steven Spielberg did years ago.
They had better technology. They had an early VHS or something rather. Yeah.
Well, they had a Super 8, if that's a term.
A Super 8, something. But whatever it was, they had one with sound on it and different things, and a bit of zoom qualities and other things. So it had a bit more.
Still a bit
better, slightly better technology to start with.
It's still a bit dodgy because it still catches the graininess. It's not the camera's fault.
But it's also another point too. Yeah, it would have been taken sometime later off the film and transferred to VHS. Now it's got a bit of age on it. You're going to lose something. Yeah,
true. I do.
Maybe generations of copying. Yeah.
I do like that his creativity side coming out in the when he started out, like the part with the skeleton coming out of the closet in one scene. It makes me think of those ones he did in Raiders of the Lost Ark with the skeletons in that scene where Marion creeps out. That's what I keep thinking about.
Probably got that idea when it was brought in there. Yeah.
And there are the those mannequin dummy in when he was for his cowboy scene where the person just fell from a high cliff. That makes me think of the Temple of Doom where they used mannequins, robotic ones, and used it on the bridge for effect. And I thought it was a great effect back then. I mean, I can't imagine all those promising creative ways he did this sort of thing. While some people would say, let's just go and use CGI and just forget about our creativity side. Be lazy. I often hate being lazy. I mean, there goes the creativity side.
Anyway. Moving along, otherwise you're talking on it. Home media, it's picked up really good video on demand and whatever. Syndications, they've actually made a lot more money on it. So they didn't take a bath in it, which is good.
Yeah.
You don't see that. You don't see anybody lose money on a film.
I think that when he did that West Side Story one, I think it was a bomb, according to some people. But then again, if you had two West Side Story movies that came out
the original
at different
one was
times,
nice,
it was better.
Compares it to it, so which is a bit of a problem.
Yeah, so I guess this movie was it was kind of great as a tribute to his family, and in his backstory was just slotted in there, here and there, and all that stuff. It was pretty inspirational.
There's a lot of stuff on Critical Response here. I'm not going to read for all of it. We'll be here all night. You'll be in your pajamas by the time I'm finished. But generally, Rotten Tomatoes gave it 92%. That's a good one. I think Metacritic gave it 85%. And lots of other people said really, really good stuff like, hey, it's one of Spielberg's warmest, funniest films, and highlighted Kaminsky's cinematography. So, Steve Pond from Time wrote the film shows a light touch that doesn't detract from the very real depth of what's being explored. So that's a general feeling. They all liked it for its content and the way it was done. So so it only has a limited run for whatever reason, but that's why I didn't do a lot of a big box office. But home media, video on demand, that sort of stuff, it's making up for it. So I'm not going to talk too much on it because if it's getting Spielberg, you're going to go off on little tangents here and there about Raiders of the Lost Ark and other things, and it's
well, I can't help but see those things that
but you see where the makings were.
Yeah,
you can see where he's getting his ideas from as a kid, and he didn't leave them behind. He learnt by them and brought some of the same ideas into his adult productions.
Yeah, when I was trying to look up how he got into the industry, no doubt we all know that he was when he was an intern. He even had set up his own offices.
I don't know. I've heard a story, and I haven't had it written down. I heard that at one stage, he went to the film studio, got in somehow or other, got past security, and got known to security. They thought he actually worked there, and he set up an office in a spare room for himself. Don't know how, why, is it real? I've got no idea. That's the story I heard, and I'll say good luck to him. It shows that you had intestinal fortitude and drive and enthusiasm to be so daring. So there you go then.
Mm-hmm.
His mother gave him encouragement. His dad ended up getting on his side, and the world, the rest of it's all in celluloid.
I did think it was nice that his father and his mother invested in his talent.
They not invested in his talent, but they supported him. His mother knew he was a talented guy and wanted to do it, and his dad finally came around, and Uncle Benny gave him a camera.
A better camera.
Everyone knew that he was going to, in the back of their minds, probably knew he was destined for greater things.
Which he
Even
was.
though Dad wanted to get a real job like electronics whiz like he was and work on computers and stuff.
Yeah.
But
It's just like when George Lucas also was told by his father to take over the family business, become a grocer, I think it was.
Yeah, he would have made a lot of money there.
Yeah, not as much as those how many figures type money, he could make in movies.
You're running a business, like a grocery store, you might get a lot of satisfaction out of it, but you don't get a lot of money out of it. So
you could even lose your business.
Well, yeah,
which often happens sometimes.
Change roads, building gets torn down, you have to find another location, that
and
sort of stuff.
Sometimes in some food business, like I've learnt when I was watching a TV series with Mike not too long ago called The Food That Made America, and sometimes these people can buy out your business and you could be left with nothing.
Exactly. Oh, we'll give you $50,000 or $100,000
on a handshake.
there, blah blah. Well, you're like in The Founder. When Ray Kroc bought the business off the other two guys, he's $2 million. And they want a percentage of cash sales. They can't do that, but I give you a handshake and whatever. And they said, okay. They didn't get the extra bit, but they got their million something, whatever, each for their business, which they weren't developing. And Ray Kroc made McDonald's what it is today.
Yeah, see.
So, they lost their business because they were too stubborn to go with him and grow the business.
Yeah.
So,
I do think this movie is probably one of his best Stephen
Spielberg's. I think it's a really good movie, yeah.
It's very inspirational and encouraging to a younger audience out there to go out and
have a go.
And have a go. I always encourage my nephew to go ahead and film something.
Yeah.
I don't know
my little man, he's 6, going on 7. I've even got his first camera, second-hand one. It's a Canon 1500 or something rather, with a little 15 to 55mm lens, ready for him. So when he's ready, I say, "Here's your camera. Go and play with it." So.
Yeah, if I can get him off the computer, yeah.
Well, yeah, but he's got to learn how to edit.
True. I want to teach him this stuff, but it's a little hard when he's not paying attention.
Well, he's not interested yet, but he's a bit older. But see, taking the film's one thing, is telling the story, and then the cutting room floor is the other bit. And using the programs that we've got today makes it a lot easier than what Spielberg and other guys went through doing it by hand.
When you do cut it and you're not happy with the cut, you cannot go back.
No, especially if you lose the part you cut out. Whoops.
Whoops. And also the fact that you can actually hear the video now, the video now, so you can actually know exactly which part is them talking at in the scene, and which is not the talking part to the scene.
Yeah, and different things. But yeah, it's things. Technology's gone a long way. Digital versus wet. Editing programs. You got your Adobe Suite, and you got DaVinci Resolve Studio, and you got these other wonderful programs and applications. You can do it all digitally, and if you make mistakes, just go back and fix it. Oh, what a joy!
Yeah.
I made a mistake. That's okay. I'll just get the original copy out and just redo it. You don't have that when you got wet film. No.
Yeah, that stinks. Anyway, so should we rate this movie now?
Yep, 10.
I think we should.
There you go.
I'm going to rate it 10 and a half out of 10 myself.
I didn't get a chance to see online where to get it.
Really?
But I would say, I didn't get a chance. I was a bit rusty. So I would say, at a rough guess, Amazon would have it for rent and for sale. eBay would have it. Not a problem. It's probably on streaming services. You'll find it. I mean, I just didn't have a chance to look up my usuals. But, it's a new movie. It's got to be around.
I gotta admit, though, I was thinking, do you think this will be one movie that will be... develop an anniversary, like some movies, like the Titanic movie, which James Cameron made. It's still being rewatched, and they even did an anniversary
tour. Biodramas and things based on people that aren't as interesting. I mean, see, Titanic's different because that actually about a real occurrence that everyone still talks about today.
Yeah.
Not as much as they did back 100 years ago, but they still know. Titanic, but know about that. But yes, I'm not going to be rude, but say if Mr. Spielberg dropped out of the business today and stopped making movies for one reason or another, in 20 years' time, half the people won't remember who he was. And that's how fickle the business is. Even though the diehards like I would still say, "Oh yes, there's Spielberg and Lucas and all these old guys have made really, really top movies. Where are their replacements?" You see, but a lot of the new people say, "Who?" You see? How about the guy? Look, I can't remember the names now. William Castle. Who is William Castle? Who speaks to William Castle now?
Me.
You do, okay. And the guys like that, guys who made the movies years ago.
Yeah, like Cecil B. DeMille.
Yeah, Cecil B. DeMille, exactly right. Yeah, Cecil. These guys made seriously good movies, and they still, in many cases, especially Cecil stuff, is really, really good even today. And you go, wow, that's a great epic movie. And you're saying other guys aren't doing it. I mean, they cost a lot of money to make too, don't get me wrong, but these were magnificent filmmakers. So, but Spielberg and other guys, they're going to go like the other guys. And so many years after they've finished filmmaking, people aren't going to talk about them. Like Roger Corman. I know Roger Corman. I love his movies. How many people know Roger Corman? You see what I mean? So it's a sad but guys like Spielberg, Lucas, and the newer guys, well, they're going to be dropped off the planet soon, business-wise.
Like the Vincent DeSantis and the Joshua Kennedy guys. Yeah. They are the new age of filmmaking.
And they may go better and develop, but who knows? Yeah,
I like to hope so.
I like to think we have people take their place and to carry the baton and just go on to bigger and better things, but that's my hope because the industry is so beautiful. Yeah,
the industry is a very big place, and like so many young filmmakers, they want to return to a certain way of doing filmmaking, not just rely on CGI. I mean,
CGI is a tool. AI is a tool, but it shouldn't take over from the human content. Now leave that one alone. You keep at me all the time on that one. Okay?
I can't help it. I mean,
it's a tool. It's like a camera's a tool.
No.
Okay.
It's just that often, almost all the time, I see on social media keeps saying, "Oh, go ahead, use this type of thing. It'll make your life easier." Blah blah blah.
But the point is, it's a tool.
Ugh.
If you're going to, how do you put it? If you want to make a sci-fi movie and you have to make up some serious landscape or the inside of a spaceship, and you don't have a no way in the world you could make it the way you want. The next thing is artificial intelligence, CGI, green screen, everything you got, throw it to make it look real. That's it. They're not going to do matte paintings forever, okay?
I know.
Okay, so that's a tool to make it happen, but you don't take away from the human content. Right. There you go. Now leave it alone.
Okay, so you know where to find it, and you know our thoughts on it.
Well, I didn't check, but it's a newer movie. It's got to be out there.
Yeah, and I know
we got it.
I know what you guys are thinking. Why are we reviewing this one? It's because, well,
we respect Steven Spielberg.
We respect Steven Spielberg, and we also think it's a top movie if you want to know his story.
Yeah, it's loosely based. It's not 100% accurate, but there's a lot of truth in it because someone actually asked us on the notes I had here, saw him crying at different times during the film, and I asked, why are you crying? Is this what really happened? He said, yeah, but pretty much 100%.
Yeah,
in different scenes was what actually happened, and that's all his memories were coming back to him.
I should mention, guys, when he was being beaten up by the jocks in one scene, it was actually a different set of people that beat him up. Those 1950s,
leather jacket type
leather jacket,
but he made them
greasy
jocks
guys
instead of leather jackets.
Yeah, it's been done before. I imagine that's probably...
They did an American Graffiti, tough guys.
Done that. I guess,
Blackboard Jungle.
I guess he wanted to go for the all-American approach where nasty, sporty guys will just go after the nerdy guy.
These grease clicky groups, like Mean Girls and stuff, they pick on the nerdy girls and stuff. Oh, isn't she horrible? Look at that dress. She got a zit on her nose. Yeah, they pick on them all the time for any reason.
Any reason under the sun.
Yeah. So, anyway, irrespective. You want to kill it?
Yeah, and also Steven Spielberg really did meet John Ford, obviously, in real life. And I have actually looked at an interview with an interviewer who he was explaining how his encounter, and it was exactly word for word, exactly like the movie.
Well, he brought it in. There's a lot of reality in there. Yeah.
So some of the stuff, like he said, 50% of it is probably based on his real life, obviously.
Exactly, yeah.
Of course, there are a few people who came out who knew Stephen when he was younger, said, this didn't happen.
But they might not have been there.
That's true. There was even one guy who was playing the John Wayne character in the Western movie he was making. He said that they weren't friends, meaning he was bad-tempered, bad-mannered, and stuff like that. So they were not exactly friends,
The guy in the war movie thingy?
Yeah, no, the Western movie.
Oh, the Western, yeah.
The one he did with the... Yeah.
Yeah.
But you're going to find when you're working people that they won't always be friends.
No.
I mean, it's going to be difficult, especially when you work with one another. You find it hard to keep your friendship together when you so want to get such a film up and rolling.
Can be a bit dodgy.
Anyway, so that's it from us, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and may actually go out of your way to actually go see this movie because it's worth watching.
It might be streaming too. It's only about 2022, so it might be streaming somewhere,
Yeah, it may be on Netflix or something.
One of those sort of things, yeah.
My sister would know.
It should be on Amazon Prime and different things. You can be able to rent it. It might even be rentable through YouTube on one of their streaming sites and stuff,
Yeah. So that's it from us, guys. So this is Sarah Stephenson.
And Michael.
Saying see you guys around on Boys and Ghouls Film Review. Bye for now, and we'll see you guys next time.
Bye, guys.
Bye.